If you can answer that question and you can highlight those things in your marketing message, you're exponentially going to get a higher response. Hi, my name is Rob Swanson, and if you love the idea of designing your life, you're in the right place. This is the show about real estate, money, and life to get you motivated and help you navigate the road to freedom. Whether you want to start investing in real estate, scale your business to the next level, or sit back and reap the rewards from passive income, I'm here to help you achieve freedom in all areas of your life. So now, sit back and enjoy. This is the Real Estate Mogul Podcast. Hey, what's up, everybody? Rob Swanson here, back with another episode of the Real Estate Mogul Podcast. Hey, we're going to continue our series today in the Deals on Demand Part 2 in the Deals on Demand series. And today, we're going to take the next step in the process of getting deals on demand. So in the last series, in Part 1, we talked about building a prospect list and how do you build a motivated seller marketing list. And there's a reason that my marketing always converts and why I always generate leads and why I generally do it at a lower cost than most other people. And that's because I'm very specific in my understanding of what I'm trying to accomplish, what I'm trying to get, and what results I'm trying to achieve based on building that motivated seller marketing list. So if you haven't listened to that first episode or part 1 in our Deals on Demand series, go back and listen to that right now. It's going to help you set up and understand what we're talking about next. And so let me give you just a quick rundown on our Deals on Demand series so that you understand where we've come from in part 1 and where we're headed to in part 5. And there are 5 steps to getting deals. Number 1 is building a motivated seller marketing prospect list. Number 2 is sending your marketing. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Number 3 is capturing those inbound leads. And we're going to dive a lot into lead organization, lead management, and how you keep track of everything. And step 4 is talking to people. We're going to go deep in the theory on scripts and how to deliver scripts. And I'm going to just tell you this. Pros use scripts. So I'm a sales pro. I've been doing sales for 30 years. And when I am really dialed in and I am closing real estate deals or closing business deals or closing sales in some way, I always step back and I think about, how do I have to build my script? What does my script have to say and how am I going to follow my script? So part 4, we're going to be diving into that and talking about talking to people. And part 5 is going to be making offers. And we're going to break making offers down. We're going to talk about making financed offers. We're going to talk about making all cash offers. We're going to talk about making terms offers. And we're going to go deep into the discussion of making offers. It's 5 parts to our Deals on Demand series. So let's back up here for a moment and let's talk about sending marketing. Because once you've built a great motivated seller list, and as we talked about in part 1, there are 7 lists that I go to on a regular and repeated basis because they always work. Once you've built that list and have segmented down and are ready to do the marketing, you have to decide and ask yourself, what am I going to do for marketing and how am I going to approach this? And so I like to think about it this way. Before we answer those questions, what campaigns am I going to launch? We step back and we break it down and we say, okay, inside of marketing, there are 3 main components. There's the market, there's the message, and there's the media. So the market is what we talked about in part 1. It's the audience, it's the list that you build that is going to receive your message. The message is what you're going to say to that prospect, that person that's on your list, that is going to get them to respond to that marketing. And we'll talk about this in a second. And the third component is the media. What type of media are you going to use to get out in front of that list and actually get them to respond and raise their hand and become a quote unquote lead in your system, somebody that you can have a conversation with and ideally solve their real estate problem. And so if we think about the market, the message, and the media, and we think about a motivated seller, we talked about in part one that there are generally property problems and there are people problems. And depending on the list that you're building, there's a high potential for this particular message to swing one way or the other, right? A vacant house tends to be a property problem, whereas sometimes a distant owner could be a personal problem. It could be a double payment, or it could be something else. And so, again, in part one, we talked about the 8 Ds that drive motivation. We won't rehash those here, but when it comes to building your message, you're going to refer to those things that we talked a lot about in part one, and you're going to use those things to craft the message that is going to speak directly to the prospect's pain and the problem that they're trying to solve. If you can solve a problem or suggest that you have a solution to a particular problem, you're going to get people to respond to your message. What happens a lot of times is newer investors or people that are newer to marketing, they don't go quite as deep in the conversation to solve the problem in the marketing message itself. They leave certain elements out that are the hard-hitting elements that actually agitate the pain that the person is feeling, and that pain is what is going to prod somebody to actually step up, pick up the phone, shoot you a text, place a phone call, fill out your online form, whatever call to action that you're actually using in your marketing. And so the message has to be a problem, pain, solution approach. Okay, let's identify the problem. You've got a vacant house. Let's agitate the pain. It's not making you any money. And let's provide a solution. We buy houses just like yours in the same area. So if you start to think about the market, the audience of prospects that you built in your list, if you start to think about the problem that they're experiencing and the pain that they probably feel, you can craft a really good marketing message. And this applies across so many areas and aspects of business and sales, right? The formula never really changes. It's kind of like this in business. I've hired and fired a lot of people over the years. And, as my kids became adults, I started to teach them, hey, you can go, assuming you even want to go get a job, but let's just assume that somebody wants to go get a job. I always taught them that you can get any job you want, quote unquote, or i.e. you can get anybody to pay you for something if you create enough value. And so solve a problem and create value. And something that I talked a lot about in the sort of job getting thing is you can get any job you want. And you know how to do it? 5 minutes into the interview, stop the interviewer and ask them this one question. If there was one problem you're trying to solve by filling this position, what would it be? And then in the rest of the interview, take away that pain, solve that problem, and you get the job every single time. That's marketing 101. That's marketing and sales 101. So as we build a message to communicate to somebody, recognize that it's a whole lot easier to get somebody to run away from pain than it is to run towards pleasure, right? A lot of times people will frame their marketing message such that they have cash to spend, and I'll give you cash for your house. Now, that marketing message is good. It's a piece of the marketing message, but it's never going to convert as well as if you also include the pain component to the conversation, right? And so what I mean by that is If you offer to we buy houses cash, that's great. They now understand what you do, and they can see the pleasure of, if they sell to you, they can get the cash. We buy houses cash, any area, any condition. That's great. Standard classic real estate investor marketing message. The conversion rate on that message, if you don't go deeper and actually dive into the pain, is going to be exponentially lower than if you do agitate the pain a little bit. And the pain is vacant house, no income, deadbeat tenants, foreclosure pending, unwanted probate house, right? Or inherited unwanted house, damage, double payments, all these sorts of things, right? That you can start to lean in on and ask yourself, after I built this list and I think about who might be on this list experiencing pain, what pain might they be experiencing? If you can answer that question and you can highlight those things in your marketing message, you're exponentially going to get a higher response. Do you have what it takes to build a successful real estate investing business or scale your existing business to the next level, but you feel like you've hit a brick wall and there's something holding you back? If you answered yes, then my team of experienced real estate investor business development consultants wants to talk to you. This is your opportunity to get paid while you learn the business. But this is not a coaching program, it's not daycare or mentoring. It's hands-on learning where you'll put in the work and we'll guide you through every step to split deals and make money together. I'm always looking for ways to expand my real estate investing business into new markets, create more passive income, and expand my hard money lending business. And my team of professional real estate investor coaches are always looking for ways to make more money by helping students close more deals. So we put our heads together and decided to bring on a small number of apprentices each month. This isn't for everyone, and there are a few requirements to being accepted into the program because this is the only program that we get paid on deal splits. If you're ready for the next level, are ready to join our success team, work directly with one of the experienced real estate investors on my team, and you're willing to put in the work and follow our guidance, go to realestatemogul.com/success to learn more. You'll learn what I'm looking for, how the program works, what you get from us, and what we'll expect from you. So do it right now. Go to realestatemogul.com/success. And so it's a really fun exercise in the process of being a real estate investor to recognize that you've got to wake up every day and be a marketer, because without leads, you don't have opportunity. You have to have leads coming into your business. And that starts in part one of our Deals on Demand series, and that is building a great list. Build a great marketing list, motivated seller prospecting list, and then send out marketing. Do the marketing, do the work, and get the message right. So then we step back for a moment and we ask ourselves, okay, well, what medium or what media should we use? And, there's all sorts of different types of media. There's online marketing, there's direct mail. Inside of direct mail, there's postcards, there's letters. You can do cold call prospecting. You can prospect into that list. There are a ton of things that you can do to get that message in front of the right audience. And we're not going to break all of them down here today, but we're going to talk about direct mail, and we're going to break that down a little bit because it's one of the oldest, most classic approaches to marketing. And in particular, when we're talking about sending out or launching marketing campaigns as a real estate investor, we're really specifically talking about lead generation campaigns and direct response marketing. What you're trying to do is get a seller to respond immediately to your marketing effort. Not next week, not tomorrow, but get them to respond immediately. You want them to receive your message, that your message to land, your message to show them opportunity, to solve their pain, agitate their pain a little bit, solve their problem, and get them to pick up the phone and respond. As a real estate investor, deals are done over the phone. Now, over the last few years, more and more conversation, negotiation has been done via text message. But really, if you can get on the phone and talk to people, which is part 4 in our Deals on Demand series, talking to people is going to close people more so than anything else. Because what you really want to do is you want to recognize that as those leads begin to come in, you launch your marketing and leads come in, leads fall into several buckets and several categories. Leads fall into the category of a red light, a yellow light, and a green light lead. And I learned this verbiage from a good friend of mine, Brad Hovis, and he and I have done a lot of real estate deals together, and we used to run a team of people together that were out there doing a lot of deals. And we always taught them the red light, yellow light, green light. And the concept behind it is this: when you do your marketing, you're going to have certain types of people respond. You're going to have green light sellers respond to you that they got your message via the media that you sent them, a letter or a postcard. You immediately agitated their pain. You demonstrated that you had a solution to their problem. You showed them benefit, and you gave them a clear call to action, a clear way to get in touch with you. Greenlight sellers are going to respond to that marketing immediately. And when you answer the phone or call them back quickly, a greenlight seller is going to sell you their property, their house, because you picked up the phone. They're green light, they're ready to go. Now, a yellow light seller is a seller that has all of those same characteristics. They responded to your marketing, but they're not quite there. Either the pain, they don't recognize the gravity of their pain or the gravity of their problem, or they're not quite sure that you're offering them the solution that they want yet. And so this is where your skill really shines. Right? You've done the effort. You took the phone call. You picked up the phone. You called them back. You put them into the drip system inside the FreedomSoft CRM, and you're following up with them automatically. If you didn't close them immediately on that first call, you're following up with them via the FreedomSoft autoresponder and follow-up system, and you're getting back on the phone. You're doing the effort, or you're letting the system do the effort. When the system does the effort and they respond back again, you're right there and ready to go. A yellow light seller is somebody that is not ready to sell yet because you have not used your skill on solving their problem. A yellow light seller needs to have their problem solved, usually verbally, over the phone, so that they see how your solution, your offer to buy the real estate, actually helps them out of their jam and puts them in a better position. And so that's what a yellow light seller does at the end of the day. So your job as a marketer is to market to that prospect list and then bucket those inbound leads: green light, yellow light, and red light. Red light sellers are not going to sell to you no matter what. And the reality is 95% of people out there are probably not going to sell to a real estate investor. We're looking for the 5%. Now that's a lot of opportunity. And what I would argue is one of the reasons that my marketing always converts is I increase my odds of getting responses that are yellow light and green light sellers because I narrow my marketing list in on the front end. See, too many people go too wide in their business. They spend a lot of time, energy, and effort building very wide prospect lists. And the problem with that is it's just that. It's watered down. It's diluted. And so you only have 5% of the, say, 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 postcards that you send. You only have a small percentage of those 5,000 postcards that you send that actually could respond or actually would respond. And then they fall into those various buckets: green light, yellow light, red light. And so what I try to do is I try to limit the size of my send and stick more highly potentially motivated prospects into my list from the beginning, so that instead of 5% of the list that I'm marketing to, maybe I have 50 or 60% of the list that I'm marketing to could actually respond. And so when you hear about different people talking about the conversion rates or the lead response rates to their marketing efforts and their direct mail and their different types of campaigns they run, you have to be thinking a little bit about apples and oranges, or apples and apples, or apples and pears, because not all marketing lists are created equal. Not all marketing messages are created equal. And when you have that many variables, you can get a wide range of response rates. So in direct mail, it's not uncommon to see a 1 to 2% response rate. So if you send out 100 postcards, you're going to get 1 or 2 responses. Now, those numbers are pretty low, right? But that is pretty common. Those are industry acceptable standards. Now, I've seen over the last year or so, maybe 2 years, more and more real estate investors talking on social media about even worse response rates than that 1 to 2%. And that generally suggests to me that they're not matching up their marketing prospect list with the message as well as they could. They're either trying to go pretty wide in building their prospect list. So inside of their 1,000 prospects or 5,000 prospects or whatever it is that they're sending, even more, they've got only 5% of those prospects that could actually respond and sell the property to them. Conversely, on the other hand, the more specific and narrowed and targeted you get building your prospect list up front, and the better you match your message to that market, the higher your response rate is going to be. That's why my campaigns always convert. I always generate leads at a higher response rate than what is typically published out there in the market. It is simply a matter of being more strategic and doing a little bit more planning up front and thinking through, what am I doing? How am I sending this? What message am I speaking? Who am I speaking it to? What problems do they have? When you can get to that place, you can send 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 postcards, and you can get above a 2% response rate. Granted, in the last couple of years, direct mail response rates have certainly gone down. I used to be able to send out direct mail and get 8 to 10, even 10 to 12% response rates. And I would send out 2,000 to 5,000 postcards at a time. I would get a lot of leads. And today, those numbers have definitely gone down, down from the 8%, but I can still see anywhere from 2 to 5% response rate to my direct mail, because I really match the audience, the market, the motivated seller list with the messaging and the media that I send them to get that message correct. And so I'll still see a 2 to 5% response rate to direct mail. So if I go and send out 5,000 pieces of direct mail, a 5% response rate is 250 leads. So I can still see 250 leads come in off of a direct mail of 5,000 sent. My job then, or the job of my CRM, is to quickly and easily allow me to bucket and filter those leads into red light, green light, or red light, yellow light, and green light sellers. What that allows me to do is prioritize those inbound leads quickly. Because if my response rate was only 2% on that same 5,000 person send, right? And you just take the 5,000 mail pieces that you sent times 0.02, 2%, that's 100 leads. Even with 100 leads, you've got to do a pretty good job, and hopefully your CRM does a pretty good job like FreedomSoft does to quickly and effectively bucket those into green light, yellow light, and red light sellers. Again, that creates your priority. And so you don't want to be spending your time out of those 100 leads working hang-up or the red light sellers. You don't want to be spending your first time on the yellow light sellers. You want to be spending your first time on the green light sellers. Get on the green light sellers first and turn those leads into an accepted offer. Okay? Solve a problem. Once you've done that, you let the system do some immediate follow-up and connection for you, and then you work your way down into the yellow light sellers. Now, if you have a team of people, 100 leads, you can distribute the green light, the yellow light, the red light out to your team and put them to work all at once. So on that first day, within the first 24 to 48 hours, you're going to work all of those leads as quickly as possible and move them into varying statuses. And at the end of the day, what you're looking for in a status, and we're going to talk about this in the lead management part 3 in our Deals on Demand series, but we're really looking to bucket them into, green, yellow, red. But then what we want to do is we want to put them into, once we're talking to somebody or trying to get in touch with them, we want to put them in follow-up statuses. We want to put them in contact queues, follow-up statuses. We want to put them and mark them as an active lead, an offer made, or an under contract. That's what we're looking for. Now, there are a few other lead statuses that you can utilize inside of that because there are different scenarios that come up, like dead or, various things, like a dead lead. It's just, do not call or, that kind of thing. But the main point that I'm making here is when you get really good at narrowing in your marketing list and you get really good at mashing up your message, everything starts to come together seamlessly and cleanly. Now, I want to talk about something that misses most people. And I'm not sure why this is missed by most people. The reality is it just takes work to do. And sometimes you don't even have to do the work. You just have to set up the system initially to do the work for you. And that in and of itself is hard. Well, here's the reality. 2/3 of your leads, when you're sending out, say, direct mail, a postcard, or a letter, and you get the responses back in, as much as 2/3 of your leads are just going to be hangups. They're going to get your message. They're going to get, they're going to follow your call to action. Call to action meaning your instruction to call or text this number today for an offer, right? A call to action. You're going to get people to respond. 66% of those that respond are just going to call and hang up. They're going to listen to a voicemail if there's a voicemail there, and they're going to hang up if you didn't answer that call live. As many as 50% of your deals are going to come from your hang-up leads. So friends, hear me. Deals on demand. If you're not calling back those leads that you did not connect with on the front side and getting on the phone with them as quickly as possible, you're leaving 50% of your potential profit on the table. This is huge. If you're not calling back your hangups, you're missing a huge opportunity. And honestly, it could be the difference between success and failure. Because I see too many people that do a really, really bad job of actually doing the follow-up. Follow-up is so key. And we're going to be talking about that in part 3 in our Deals on Demand series. So I hope what you're doing here is connecting the dots that, you've got a motivated seller marketing or prospect list that you built based on certain motivating indicators. And as I talked about in part 1, the FreedomSoft Lead Finder tool has a built-in list wizard that just steps you through the process. It says, what type of list are you building? What geography, where do you want to build that list? And then what motivation flags do you want to apply to it? And you click the various buttons and it builds the list for you. It's really, really simple. When you get really good at that, and then you get good at matching the message to solve the problem and the pain, your direct mail is going to convert as good as mine. And so a lot of times a motivated seller has already tried to sell their property. Not always, but many times. They've tried to sell their property. And they tried to do it by what most people understand is the right approach. And that is call a real estate agent, have the real estate come out, look at the property, make a presentation to list the house, put it on the MLS in their local area, the multiple listing service, listed with a real estate agent, and sell the property. That's what most people think. The problem is the MLS is designed as a retail marketplace. And the retail marketplace is not always designed to solve the problems of the seller. Oftentimes, a distressed condition of the property, or 2, speed that is required to get the transaction done fast. And so they've been frustrated. The seller has been frustrated. They've tried to sell the house. They've tried to do the thing, and it hasn't worked. So when they get your marketing message that says, we'll pay cash, close on the day of your choice, we'll make you a fair offer, and we'll buy as is in any condition, call today. And then there's some highlight bullet points that identify some of the pain and the stress that they're feeling. We solve these problems, people respond. And so most sellers want to solve a couple of things. They want to solve the condition problem. They want to solve the speed problem. And they just want to solve the stress problem. It's stressful to be dealing with this. And they no longer want to deal with the stress. And so when you can buy the property as is, in the condition it is, they don't have to do any work. That's not what most retail real estate agents tell them. Most real estate agents say, hey, we'd love to list your house after you repair this, and this, these 5 things to the tune of $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. Then we can list your house, Mr. Seller, and we can get full price. Well, if the seller doesn't have the $12,000 to make the repairs, doesn't have the time, doesn't want to deal with it, that's where your solution comes in. You can buy for cash as is. Because a lot of times also, if there's distress in the property may not be bank financeable. And in the multiple listing service with a real estate agents generally sell to people that are getting financing, bank loans, bank financing. And if a property is distressed, that property doesn't qualify for bank financing. And so we're coming in and we're solving these things. What I want you to be hearing is that there's a simple way to approach getting your phone ringing as a real estate investor. Consistency is key. In any marketing, if you do the marketing one time, you're going to get a small response rate. If you send that marketing a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh time, you're going to start to see an increase in response and a decrease in cost per lead the more consistent you are with your marketing. And that's something that most people will tell you, but it's not something that most investors will actually do. And I can tell you that I've been working a particular area and a particular prospect list narrowed into about 3 to 5 different zip codes in a particular market since February. And I'm recording this now in July. So that's a 5-month period of time. And I'm on my 10th marketing piece to that exact same prospect list. So my 10th piece in a 5-month period of time. And so that is about 2 mailers a month. And we had a little bit of separation between the exact list that we mailed to. So not every prospect got 10 pieces, but between the prospects that we've mailed to, we've probably hit each prospect about 6 times. So almost every 3 weeks or so, 3.5 weeks, they're getting another postcard from us, the exact same prospect list. That's something, again, that most people will tell you to do, but most investors will not execute on success on a regular basis. The most successful investors I know do. Most people that ask me all the time, Rob, how do I get leads? Don't. When I tell them that, they think, that sounds like work. I have to do something. Yeah, you do. And again, build your prospect list inside of FreedomSoft. Grab that segment of records right from your list in FreedomSoft and launch your direct mail right from inside FreedomSoft using the built-in templates. You don't even have to figure out the messaging. It's all done for you inside of FreedomSoft. What I want you to do is I want you to zig when everyone else is zagging. When you look and you see that all the gurus are teaching one strategy and one thing, I want you to try to zig the other direction and ask yourself, what can I do to be creative that will set me apart from everybody else? That's what separates the men from the boys, the women from the girls, those that succeed from those that fail. Now, I get this question a lot too, and it really doesn't matter, postcards or letters. I personally prefer postcards. They're cheaper, they're easier. We always get a high response rate. And I think it has more to do with the list than the media itself. And I've said that throughout this particular episode, and when you get those two things, the message and the media, right, to matching up to that list, the market, you put yourself in a place to succeed. A huge mistake that I see real estate investors make is that they try to outsource their list building. They go hire somebody and they try to outsource their list building, and they buy lists from third-party people and that sort of thing. Friends, I can't stress this enough. The list you build is going to be directly related to the success you have. Do not outsource your list building. You have to be in control of this aspect of your business, period. And the reason I tell you that is because it's really, really important that you match the market, that audience or list, with the message you're sending. And this is where inside of FreedomSoft, despite the fact that we have the list wizard and beautifully designed pre-built lists, you have the advanced filter options that you can go in and then tweak those lists to get something slightly different than what everybody else is doing. And that's one of the things that I do a lot. So when it comes down to the marketing message after you've built the list, we've touched on this, but there's things like we buy houses, or I've been trying to reach you, or I'm buying in your area, or I'm paying cash. Those are all elements that demonstrate the value. But remember what I said at the beginning, the people will run away from pain more than they will to pleasure. And so buying in any condition is running away from pain. A quick close is running away from pain. Hassle-free is running away from pain. No commissions is running away from pain. zero closing costs. These are all running away from pain. And finally, something that really comes in and you build this friendliness and trust, both in your message at the beginning, but then in your script, your opening lines of your script when you get on the phone with somebody, is a friendly tone and a trustworthy confidence that comes from your conversation. So if you think about those bullet points that I just listed out, and you can build the elements into your marketing message of providing the value and giving them the pleasure to run to, and then highlighting the pain and giving them the problems to run away from, and showing how you solve all of this in a friendly and trustworthy way. Friends, that's how you get your phone ringing and how you make this whole thing work. So I hope you got value out of this. I hope you really enjoyed this. I hope you're going to come back for part 3 when we get into the lead management, how to organize, how to stay on top of things, how to follow up effectively, how to use all of these things we're talking about to actually get those leads coming in and turn leads into profit. So friends, this is Rob Swanson for part 2 in the Deals on Demand series with the Real Estate Mogul podcast. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Do you have what it takes to build a successful real estate investing business or scale your existing business to the next level, but you feel like you've hit a brick wall and there's something holding you back? If you answered yes, then my team of experienced real estate investor, business development consultants wants to talk to you. This is your opportunity to get paid while you learn the business. But this is not a coaching program, it's not daycare or mentoring. It's hands-on learning where you'll put in the work and we'll guide you through every step to split deals and make money together. I'm always looking for ways to expand my real estate investing business into new markets, create more passive income, and expand my hard money lending business. And my team of professional real estate investor coaches are always looking for ways to make more money by helping students close more deals. So we put our heads together and decided to bring on a small number of apprentices each month. This isn't for everyone, and there are a few requirements to being accepted into the program because this is the only program that we get paid on deal splits. If you're ready for the next level, are ready to join our success team, work directly with one of the experienced real estate investors on my team, and you're willing to put in the work and follow our guidance, go to realestatemogul.com/success to learn more. You'll learn what I'm looking for, how the program works, what you get from us, and what we'll expect from you. So do it right now. Go to realestatemogul.com/success.